All right. Good evening. Okay, tonight we're going to be doing Aseret hadibrot, dibra number 4, part 4. This is about Shabbat. So it says, Bezot yavo Aaron el hakodesh. There's a pasuk. It says, with this, Aaron should come, we're talking about Aaron the Kohen Gadol, should come to the Kodesh. If you remember, we're talking here about the Kodesh HaKodashim, where I explained yesterday that this was the room, the holies, or the holy of holies, and that's where the two angels were on top of the Aaron. And so on Yom Kippur only, Aaron is allowed to come into the Kodesh HaKodashim with the Ketoret. However, Chachamim ask, what is Bezot? When you say Bezot, it's like you're pointing at something very specific, right? So there are a few explanations. The first one, which is a simple meaning of the pasuk, of the verse, which is that Aaron has to come with a pan full of the spices, the ketoret, to bring it, light it, so that it should burn, and bring it into the Kodesh HaKodashim. The second explanation is a midrash, and it's a little deeper, and it says like this. Chachamim explain, the neshama is holy, is kedosha, comes from Hashem. The body is not. So the body has to raise itself to come up to enter kedusha. It's like we raise the level of the body. So very simple. How do we do this? How do we enter kedusha? How do we enter the Kodesh? So the Midrash says, Bezot, with this, really refers to Shabbat. Hashem gave us one day of the week that we can really enter Kedusha. We feel on the Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, we feel that they are very special days. But actually, we have also Shabbat every single week that we also can feel the Kedusha on this day. A person can elevate himself and enter the Kodesh, so to speak, by experiencing Shabbat. Going through Shabbat. Now, how do we go through Shabbat? I can actually do my preparations on Friday. Shabbat, I'll go to shul. I'll be careful not to do any melacha. I'll keep Shabbat 100%. That's it, right? But yet, what happened? Something is missing. Something is missing in that Shabbat. Because Shabbat, it's actually a challenge. Because Shabbat is not only about keeping the halacha, do this and don't do this, and do this and don't, and do and don't, and do and don't. That's not what Shabbat is all about. Shabbat is actually an opportunity to have an experience and to experience a relationship with Hashem, a closeness with Hashem. That is Shabbat. Having Shabbat without getting that closeness, that feeling, then something is missing out. My heart was not in it. I just did, it's like I pressed on a computer. Okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, don't do that, don't do that, done. That's it. And I was done. But that's not it. Yahadut, Judaism, is not about do's and don'ts. It's like we say in Hebrew, ha'ikar haser min hasefer. Like something is missing. Something very important is missing, right? And to believe that Yahadut, Judaism, is just a bunch of do's and don'ts, then we don't really understand Judaism. We don't really understand Yahadut. Our heart must be involved in every mitzvah we do, and that includes Shabbat. The Mesilat Yesharim, the Maharal says, Ramchal, says, Hashem created this world for us to enjoy, to have pleasure, and to enjoy in Hashem. What does this mean? This is not a kind of enjoyment that is physical. We are not here to pursue pleasures one after another. That's not what we're here for. We are here supposed to enjoy things, but everything has to be within norms and not make it essential or part of our living or part of our life that it's, I just want to have another trip, I just want to have another outing, I just want to have this and I want to have that. That's not what really, yes, we should. We should. Not only that we should. Chachamim tell us that actually, after 120 years, Hashem tells us, questions us, how come you did not enjoy the beautiful world that I built, that I created for you? It means that we are supposed, yes, we're supposed to go and see and enjoy the world, but that cannot be our only purpose. It is a pleasure to know, and it gives me a big enjoyment and nachat to know that Hashem takes care of me, that He's involved in my life, and I feel like He's a father. He's my king, but really I feel He's a father. Like someone said once that when we say tefillah and the Amidah, when we stand up and we say the Amidah, and then we start praying and we ask Hashem for this and this and this and this. It's not just not like a, well, it's not a shopping list, okay? And we mark off, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this, and that's not what it's about. That's not a relationship. But if I say, Hashem, you're my father, and who can I ask if it's not you? And I need these things, that's a very different ball game, right? So coming back to Shabbat, to really truly appreciate Shabbat, Shabbat does not begin on Shabbat itself, but on Erev Shabbat, on Friday. In order to have a Shabbat, we must have Erev Shabbat. In Lecha Dodi we say, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha. Let's go, let's walk to Shabbat. So in order to have Shabbat, we have to walk to Shabbat. It means we have to prepare for Shabbat. Ki hi mekor beracha. The fact that we are preparing is itself already a source of blessings. Chachamim say, it makes a very big difference when you prepare for a mitzvah, or if you just happen to, okay, I'm doing a mitzvah. The difference here is that I involve my whole being, my heart, and my mind, and I wanted to have a purpose. So when I am preparing for Shabbat, I'm not just doing, okay, this is the routine, this is what I do every Friday. No, I really prepare for Shabbat. It's for a mitzvah. So, according to Chachamim, if one wants to grow and do the mitzvot and preparations for mitzvot correctly, there are two questions that one needs to ask of of ourselves. Even if we do this just once a day. Number one, I'm about to do mitzvah, so my first question should be, what am I about to do? What am I about to do? Number two, in front of whom am I about to do this? So whether it's a mitzvah or an avera, chas v'shalom, whether it's something good or something bad, chas v'shalom, I'm supposed to ask myself these two questions. That's why in the morning we say, Moda ani lefanecha. I'm thankful to you, Hashem. I'm in front of you. Just as a reminder, yes, I'm in front of Hashem. And thank you, Hashem. This is has a very powerful effect on the way I'm doing my mitzvah. Because now already I really involved myself. I'm really thinking. It means that I know that I have to have a purpose. And I have to have my heart into whatever it is that I'm doing. Like one of my granddaughters would tell me, oh, your food is always so good because you put your love into it. And there's so much truth in this. When we prepare something fast, and sometimes, I don't know, we just do, and it really tastes just like that. It really doesn't taste much. But if we pay attention, I have to do this, and I want them to eat it, and I want them to like it, then it's a different ball game. Because I put my mind, and my love. And that's what it is also about the mitzvot, putting our love, putting our heart and our mind to what we are doing. And Shabbat is no different, if not even more than anything else. So with anticipation, Shabbat is coming, and the preparations, there's a whole lot of excitement, right? Excitement, but also tension, because I want to make sure that I get everything right and I don't forget anything, and I have to be ready on time, or even before the time, if it's possible, right? So even when we say Kiddush on Shabbat, Friday night, how do we say? We say from Yom HaShishi. But it's not Yom HaShishi, because we cannot have a Shabbat without Yom HaShishi. Sometimes we spoke about the times of when Shabbat comes in. Like we said, if Shabbat comes in at 7 o'clock, is the time that we are supposed to be lighting the Shabbat candles. It's a huge mitzvah to take Shabbat in a few minutes early. If I can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much I can, to take Shabbat in early. It's a huge, huge mitzvah. Not only is it a huge mitzvah, but it really brings berachot into our home. And by the way, we hear people say, this is a segula. If you do this or you do that, you're going to have, it's a segula for, I don't know, for this, for that. The truth is, Chachamim tell us, if you are careful and be more careful about Shabbat, make sure that you make a connection with Hashem on Shabbat. That is your segula for your parnasa and for your health and for children and for whatever else that is ailing us and hurting us. It's Shabbat. That's the biggest secret. It's Shabbat. So, because we are excited and because we are anticipating Shabbat so much, we want to be ready early. It's like, you're going to have a meeting at a certain time with someone, and that's a very important meeting. You're going to make sure that you're ready before, and that everything else that you need with you is also going to be ready. You're not going to show up at that meeting late or disheveled, not having everything ready with you. That's not going to work. It's not going to go well. So it's the same. It's the same about Shabbat. The Shabbat, we need to really be ready. Why is it so? All right, so there's a time for lighting candle, and that's it. Okay, fine. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be. But why? What's the pressure? What is it that really pushing us? Because there's something very special that's going to happen. And what is so special is going to happen is that, yes, we're going to have a meeting. We are going to have a meeting with Hashem. Hashem is going to come and he's going to see what kind of a home do we have ready for him on Shabbat. Hashem is coming to our home. We're having a rendezvous. So are we going to be ready and to show Hashem, yes, here I am. I'm ready. I want you to come. I want you to stay. How are we going to show that? How? By actually getting ready, making sure everything is done with my heart, with my mind, and actually be ready so that when the time comes for me to light candles, and if I can light early, I will light early. So that by the time I light my candles, I'm all ready for Hashem. Everything has to be ready. The children, the table, the cooking, everything. So that's it. Once I light, I light. There's nothing else that needs to be done. The anticipation is going to create excitement. That excitement is what we need to get us moving, to get us focused into our tasks so that we can be ready. And there are a few things that we can do to excite us. For example, if I can set my table ready on Thursday night or Friday morning early and get my Shabbat candles ready Friday morning and get all my cooking and baking and everything else done Friday morning. So everything is done before Chatzot. Chachamim tell us it is best to have everything done before Chatzot. Even if I have to do some laundry, so 95% of my laundry would be done already. So the rest of the afternoon, it is calm. And I can even take a rest. I can sit down, I can relax. I don't have to come in Shabbat exhausted and just wishing just to put my feet up and that's it. That's not the way we should be entering Shabbat. So what do? That's it. We're done, everything is done, we're excited, we put our heart into it. We did everything that we wanted, that's it. That's it. The moment we waited, Shabbat is here. We lit the Shabbat candles. And now how we spend the beginning of Shabbat and throughout Shabbat and the end of Shabbat is very important to the whole Shabbat. Because you see, Hashem gives us a special neshama, an extra neshama on Shabbat. That's why on Motzei Shabbat we have Besamim. For the neshama, when the neshama is going to leave us, it's not going to be painful. We give it a good smell so it can leave nicely. We have that special neshama. That special neshama is coming to us because it knows we're going to be spending time learning Torah. Why is it so important? Because when I learn Torah, I learn about the parasha, I learn about halacha, I learn about some rabbis, or I go to a class. All this means Hashem is talking to me through the books, through the sefarim. When I say tefillah, it means I'm speaking to Hashem. So that special neshama, Hashem gave it to us for us to feed it. How are we going to feed that neshama? By learning Torah. And on top of it, there's an extra bonus. Because we learn Torah, Hashem blesses us. It's one of the blessings of Shabbat. Hashem blesses us with chokhmah, extra chokhmah, because we spend time learning Torah. Shabbat, some Chachamim explain and tell us that Shabbat is like one long Amidah. Or it is like being in the Heder Yehud. Heder Yehud is the Chatan and Kala, the bride and the groom. They got married. Finally, they can have a moment, a private moment. So after the chuppah, they are given a room for a few minutes where they can spend a few minutes in private, right? So that is called the Heder Yehud. Chachamim tell us the whole Shabbat, it is as if we are with Hashem in a Heder Yehud. Just with Hashem. When we sit down, we sing Zemirot at the Shabbat table, or we talk about the parasha and ask questions of our children about the parasha, or we tell them stories about our Chachamim. All this has to do with Shabbat. All this is only going to make the Shabbat more pleasant and more enjoyable, and that is going to bring us closer to Hashem. So may the Shabbat really bless us, and may Hashem help us so that we can connect to Him on Shabbat, so that on Shabbat we can really grow in our relationship with Hashem, and we can grow with our chokhmah and get all those blessings that the Shabbat brings to us when we spend it the way we should be spending it. And may the Shabbat bless us with bracha, hatzlacha, parnasa, nachat, shalom, briut, zivugim, and all the very best.